Hi all, thanks for popping in. Shane from Motorcycles and Things. This week, as you probably have guessed by the intro, it's drones. I've just got my scales out to weigh this thing, this little Simmer X5C. Now I've owned this for, I don't know, probably 4 years, and I actually forgot that I owned it. I used to leave it in the back of my van in its box, and when I had little jobs to do and I had to wait outside places, I used to get this out and just fly it in the car parks. But I started about 17 years ago with buying helicopters, remote control helicopters, not particularly very expensive ones, I don't know, up to about £250. And I'll have put a picture up somewhere to show you. I had the last one, I still own it. It's in the loft. Well, the day I moved in this house, 9 years ago, somebody sat in the loft hatch while my wife passed boxes and boxes and boxes, and never seen it to this day. I've never been in the loft in this house. It's a bit awkward to get into, so I don't bother. So a period of time went past, and then I bought this little drone. Oh, I bought a DJI Vision 2. That's DJI Vision 2. Quite a large beast of a machine. I'm not sure what it weighed, but quite large, and size of a dinner plate. And you definitely wouldn't want to be hit by it. But I flew it quite a few times. It was second hand. I paid quite a bit of money for it with a couple of spare batteries. I can't remember the exact price. It was about £500 second hand, and that was 7 years ago. And I flew it several times, and then I watched a YouTube video suggesting you should do the firmware update. So I plugged the lead into my computer, went on the DJI site and started downloading the firmware. Everything said it was okay, but then when I come to fly it, I kept getting a battery alert message. So I never ever got it working correctly after that, and I sold it. I lost a load of money on that one, then I sold it. A couple of years went by, and then I bought quite inexpensive ones like this one. I can't remember what it cost. It was probably about 60 UK pounds 3.5 years ago. But as I say, I'm in my untidy man cave, and I was trying to tidy the place up last week, and I found this. I thought, oh, my old drone. I don't know if it still works. There's about four little batteries in there, but I've just got the scales out, and this is the important part of the there will be some footage. Not of this drone. It has got a camera, but it's not very high quality. It's possibly 720, something like that. It does do video, but this is hands-on flying, this little thing. The cheaper they are, the harder they are to fly. So if you're not good on the sticks, as it were, and you don't know in your mind what does what, it won't hang about, it'll just crash. No GPS, nothing. I haven't crashed this one hard. I used to fly this around my mate's motorcycle unit while he was working on motorbikes. I'm sure he used to irritate him, but he never said anything. I used to fly it around his workshop. Never hit anything. So I got the hang of flying this one, but it's never been higher than about 35 feet. And it's never been that far away from me. Probably 400 or 500 feet. Bit of a git to fly this thing. But out of curiosity, I thought I'd weigh it, because the latest legislation of drones, it's a bit off-putting for some people. Now I thought this was going to be well over the weight of 249 grams, but it isn't. According to my scales down there, it's about between 98 to 100 grams, depending on how I move the table when I'm talking. So it's below 100 grams. It's much lighter than I actually thought it was ever going to be. But yesterday was my birthday. I was 58 years young or old, depending on your point of view, how old you are in the first place. So last week I thought I'll treat myself. I've got a bit of spare cash, so I went out and I bought a DJI Mini SE. SE. Yeah, that's right. That's a question in my mind there. Yeah, a DJI Mini SE, and fantastic bit of kit. I'm really over the moon with it. I'll put some footage up first while I'm speaking of my old DJI Vision 2. Now that didn't have a gimbal, so when you altered its direction in the sky, such as this, when you was turning or going forwards or backwards, you saw it in the video. It wasn't very stable, and when the wind started taking it a little bit, it would sway around. So this Mini SE I've got, it costs £269 for one battery, a set of rotors, all the leads you'd ever need depending what phone you've got. So it will fit your phone. It comes with a lightning connector for the iPhone. I just happen to have an iPhone, so I didn't have any problems. It comes with a lead for Android and something else. That connects to the bottom of the controller. I'll put a picture of the box. I don't do unboxings. I don't find them interesting. I think they're extremely boring. But I'll put a picture up so you can see the box and you'll get an idea of the controller and everything. And I've flown it so far about 5 times. Since owning it, I bought a little helicopter landing pad. It's got a H. I don't know if that stands for helicopter. I presume it does. A little round pad. It's blue one side, orange the other. So if you're taking off or landing, particularly in grass, you know, if it's not really short grass, the back of the drone is quite low, and when you land the thing, it's likely to skim the top of the grass, and I don't know, it may cause damage to the propellers. So I thought it was a good little investment. Put that on the floor and take off and land on that, and it gives the sensors apparently good contrast if you hover above 20 feet before you take off to get its home position. I don't know how true that is. But I've been filming a few places that are of interest to me for different reasons. Mallory Park motor racing circuit, last week I went there. Between the rain, I was quite lucky because it was raining, like spitting all day, and I happened to go over there just to have a general be nosy and go somewhere because I was bored, and I had the drone with me, fully charged battery, and it stopped raining. So I went down a little back road, took off in a field entrance and a gateway to a field, and flew over Mallory Park for, I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes. I think there'd been some car racing or something. There was a little crowd of people that you're not supposed to fly over, so I didn't. And I think there was some, I could hear clapping every so often, and this little gang of people stood there, so I presume they were having a presentation. But getting back to the Mini SE, I'm over the moon with it. But a couple of days after I got it, when I started looking into the latest rules and regulations and legislation, I thought, oh blimey, this don't look good. Where can I actually fly the thing? So I went through loads and loads and loads of different people's videos on YouTube, and I come across a guy called DJ Audit, or DJ Audits. It's got an S on the end. DJ Audits. He flies over several police stations. He has encounters with the police. You know, what you doing here? I'm just taking my drone over your police station. And it's amazing. Not all police are you know, genned up on the latest rules and regulations, but you can actually fly the below 249 gram drones more or less anywhere. You've got a maximum height of 400 feet. It's not suggested that you fly over crowds of people. Not a good idea. So there is places where there's likely to be crowds of people, but if you use your brains, like say a beach, when I go on my holidays, if it's a lovely hot day, there's going to be loads of people on the beach. So if the beach is here and there's loads of people on that section, you can fly a good, I don't know, from where I go on my holidays, it's probably nearly a quarter of a mile away. The sand dunes run in line with the beach, so you'll be able to fly over the sand dunes while there's people on the beach, but don't directly fly over people. You can fly over people, but not crowds of people. So watching a few of DJ Audit's videos, I regained a bit more confidence of where I could fly. So I registered my drone. I got my operator ID for my drone, and it cost £10. £10 a year. You get it for 12 months, and they send you a number. And the number, I have actually got it on this drone here. I won't show you because just in case. There you go. I think you could have saw the number there, but I don't know how important the number is, whether somebody can use your number and fly their drone. If they get caught, it comes back to you. But while I was on the site, I took my, I don't know if it's classed as your flying test, but you get, there's 40 random questions, multiple choice questions. The test is free, it costs no money, and you can take it straight after and straight after again till you do pass it. Basically, you just have to know the basic rules and regulations. So I got my operator ID. I was sent via an email a number that you have to display on your drone. You could do it with a marker pen. I had it done by I think it's a Dymo little thing. Gives you it's a little LCD display, and you type in your relevant details or whatever you want to print, and then it prints it off. I hadn't seen one before because I'm getting old. The last time I ever saw anything like that, it was one of these clicking devices where you had to turn the wheel to get your letter and then click it. But modern technology. I'm blabbing on again, so I apologise. I will put some footage up in a second. But yeah, so I got the numbers printed, put them on both my drones, on this one and the other one. Till I weighed it today, I didn't think I'd be, this one would have more restrictions because it would be heavier, but it actually isn't. This is half as light as my other drone, and that's only a bit bigger than your hand, and that's in its lowest. The lowest regulated drone you can buy is below 250 grams. You can take off from public places. You could just be driving your car, pull into a lay-by, obviously not over a motorway. If you're in a country lane, there's a lay-by, pull in, get out your car, plonk your drone behind your car, in front of it in the lay-by, take off. Fly around, have a look around there, and as long as you don't go over 400 feet, you've broke no rules. So I've flown mine now about 5 times, I would guess, and I haven't gone over. I think the highest I've flown is 190 feet. Near my house, there will be a video. It'll be in the videos that I'll put up after I've finished yabbling on. Just down the road from my house, about a quarter of a mile, there's a large building development. There's 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom houses, and I can't remember if the name of the site, but I'll put it on here anyway. It's in Gypsy Lane in Nuneaton, and I actually ended up walking 6 miles to take that video, because I parked my car in Bedworth at the canal, and I walked along the canal to try and get to the closest point of the outside, so I could have visual, so I could visually see my drone, and try and fly over all the site, but it in view, without it being obscured. And so I walked down the canal. It was a lot further than I actually thought it was to get to the edge of that site. I walked about 3 miles each way, but it was a nice evening, so I didn't mind the walk, and took the video. I was at one point flying over some lines, and I didn't totally lose my signal, but I did get a warning on my phone display to say poor signal interrupted, but it didn't actually lose its signal, in which case it would have flown itself home, flown itself to where it took off from, or somewhere very near. So amazing bits of kit, and technology is unbelievable. And when you go somewhere, before you fly, you set your return height, so that if it does lose its signal or you lose contact with your drone, you press the button on your controller, return home. But obviously if there's a pylon, electricity pylon, it's only set to 30 meters or 90 feet. I believe electricity pylons in this country are about 118 feet. So the first thing I do when I get my drone out is I'll set the fly home height, return home height. I set it to about 135 feet. Should that happen, it hasn't happened to me yet, but one day it probably will. So I'll set that to a minimum of 135 feet, and then I'll look on the app, if you're in a restricted or temporary flying zone, it will say it anyway. I also use another app to check that, to make sure that there isn't any flight restrictions, and if there is, it won't let you take off. So all these irresponsible people of the past, what we're taking off and flying over airports or very close to airports, causing people big problems. Hopefully now that will be a thing of the past, not to happen again. So basically you can't take off if that's in a restricted zone. And amazingly, police stations are not restricted zones, so you can fly on. I don't intend ever flying over a police station. I can't be doing with the hassle and confrontation. But yeah, if you wish to fly over a police station, you're more than. It's a public place apparently, and you can fly in public places, just not over crowds of people. But right, the footage what follows is what I've taken so far. My editing, I'm using a new editing program that was released in 2021. I've just discovered, and I'm still learning it. So it's a bit sketchy in places, so I do apologise for that. I apologise for going on. I hope you enjoy this bit of a video. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. If you do, give me a thumbs up. But thanks for watching anyway, and you all take care. Bye for now.
Right, this is my second flight ever since buying this particular drone, and I'm at the location is in Leicestershire, Mallory Park motor racing circuit. I've got fond memories of this place. By the way, I'm wearing a chest mounted camera. Well, not a GoPro, but very similar. All the filming I've done today, or with the drone, and with my chest mounted camera, everything's in 2.7K 30 frames per second. But getting back to Mallory Park, I'm at Mallory Park motor racing circuit in Leicestershire. I would guess it's about 17 miles away, or 16, somewhere like that from where I live. I've got fun memories of this place because I actually used to work here in 2003 till late 2006, till a manager took over the circuit who already, I think he ran 2 other circuits. Can't remember the names of which ones they were now. It's a long time ago. We were in 22. Like I say, I worked there in 03 till 06, late 06. He took the circuit over and told all the staff that had currently worked there for donkey's years that don't worry, you won't lose your jobs. And within 12 months he got rid of everybody, all of us in one hit, and brought his own staff in. There you go. But I never saw it as a job. It was most enjoyable. Now and again I used to work on security. I know you can't believe that by looking at modern stuff of me, but I've had a couple of heart attacks and I'm on medication. I've lost a hell of a lot of weight since them days. Caused through smoking apparently. 40 fags a day for years and years and years. So I've only got myself to blame. I don't smoke anymore since the ambulance took me away. But getting back to the video, second time I've ever flew this Mini SE, DJI Mini SE. As I've said before, and I'll say many times, it's a fantastic piece of kit. I never lost line of sight with it ever. I must admit, was a dot in the sky at one point, but not a problem. It was an overcast day and I was very lucky to get this footage because it had been raining. Not heavy rain, just that light drizzly stuff, what gets you wet. Well, I suppose all rain gets you wet, but on and off all day it had been raining, and I thought I'll just go there, and should I catch a break in the rain I'll get the drone up. And luckily when I got there I got my flask out to have a coffee and it stopped raining, and I got the drone up for, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes. I've chopped lots of parts out, and I'll probably still chop a few more out before I upload this video because it's going to be a long one. This is the fishing lakes at the back of Mallory Park, right next to the circuit, still on the same land. I tried to look it up on the internet, and sadly the man who actually owned Mallory Park, Chris Meek, died about 6 years ago. And I only ever met him once in the time of working there. He very rarely visited the circuit. He left it in the capable hands of his managers and everyone who ran it, I guess. And I saw him once when he come and took some pictures of a tree. I didn't even know it was him because I was told to expect a man in an Enzo Ferrari. I'm just zooming in here on this crowd of people that are obviously getting a presentation of trophies and awards for, I think there'd been a car meeting on. But in its day, I don't know if it still does, once a year, British Superbike ran there, and I worked on 3 occasions with British Superbike when it's extremely busy with people. I met quite a few famous people in my time there. Robert Dunlop, Joey Dunlop, John McGuinness. I could go on all night about people that I've met and spoke to and had a bit of a laugh and a joke with. But as I say, it was very, very fun memories. So now and again, once in a blue moon, when the weather's fine normally, when I'm out on my little motorbike, I think, oh, I'll go out for a ride. Where can I go? Oh, I'll go to Mallory Park. So I have a ride over there. It's a little ride, takes me about 20 minutes through the countryside, through the fields and little country lanes. But at one point, years and years ago, I don't know what actual year it was, you'd have to Google it and do some research, but which is probably what I should have done. But they used to have truck racing here with Steve Parrish and the likes. But they decided that trucks were too big when they came off the track and hit the barriers. They caused a lot of damage, so the circuit was deemed not big enough, so they stopped that. But and in the very early years, they used to have Formula Ones racing around there, which is why there's so many Ferrari emblems and on display in the car park and memorabilia. But I was astonished to see it from over the air that there's 2 big pools. I didn't realise there's 2 actual big pools. I thought it was only just the one. Apparently they used to have some wild parties on, and they are a lot bigger than in reality when you see them in the flesh to what they look from 200 foot above. But I'm just coming in. Been up in the air for about 12 minutes. Get a bit of anxiety about your battery. I've never heard a warning yet to say my battery's low, and now I've bought a spare battery. But just returning it home. Well, I'll say home, back to me. And I think that's the first time I ever caught this one in my hand. When I say caught, I let it hover, and then I get my left hand with a stick, with my thumb on the stick, put my hand carefully underneath it, lower it, and then it will say landing. Put my hand as it comes down, I'll just grab hold of it and it switches itself off. But if you're in any, if you're in 2 minds about getting one, I'd suggest you buy one. Very, very easy to fly, very easy. If you put the controller on the floor, it'll just stay hovering until the battery goes flat and then return home. On to the next video. This is a development of property development, allegedly of 575 homes, and this site is about half a mile down the road next to where I live. So I was curious and nosy at the same time, and I realised we need more houses. So I think the council have been sort of given their orders by the government to build so many houses a year, is how I understand it. But this is not the only site. A village a couple of miles the opposite directions also got planning permission to develop houses there, but 575 houses is a lot of people. If you say the average is, well, some of them are going to be 5-bedroomed houses apparently, so you're probably looking at maybe 1,500 people on that site, and somewhere on there as well is supposed to be a small industrial estate as well as the houses. And also £2.1 million at the end of the road, they've got to convert it all and put an island there. But hopefully they'll be clever enough to realise that we need, for the extra people, they'll need more shops, amenities, and you know, things like doctors and dentists, because the few we've got round here are going to be really struggling if they keep building, as it were. But on this evening, it was about 8:30, 20 to 9. It wasn't long before the sun was setting, so when I first took off, the picture was very lacking in contrast because I was flying directly into the sun. And I didn't totally lose the signal, but only on this flight did I get warnings on my phone to say that low signal. I wasn't really that bothered by it, to be fair, because hopefully it would have flew itself home as soon as it lost its signal. But I thought if I come over this site about once a month, we'll see the progression. And well, when it comes to building houses, once the land has been levelled and flattened and designed into the way they want it, then I don't suppose it will take long before the houses are finished at the rate they build them at these days. But yes, it'll be interesting to see its progression and what actually happens. But curiosity got the better of me, because I was actually riding my mountain bike down the canal about 2 months ago, and I got to a spot on the canal where you could see all the vehicles and everything, and it was, you know, on a par, it was level. And so I thought, oh no, I'll take my drone over there. So I'm in the distance there. You'll see it highlighted with a yellow arrow in a second where I'm standing. There I am, look, I'm right down there. But the drone never went out of sight. Admittedly, it was a little speck in the sky, but it never actually went out of sight at any one point. And also I got some bystanders who were walking their dog going back to their canal boat, which you can see a bit further up the canal. They were quite well. There's the boat, I think they'd hired, and so I was yattering for those, because when you're flying drones and people walk by, they tend to be curious and ask questions. Lovely old couple. I say old, probably only a little bit older than me, with a little nosy dog at the end. He's a bit curious as well and suspicious, and I think I was yattering to those and talking for about 20 minutes or so. And then further up the road, I got the drone out again, and like a blumbering idiot, I forgot to press record on my phone, so I didn't actually manage to get any footage. And that's just before the sun was setting, and I think it would have been quite good footage that I lost. But I have to remember that for future, because when you're flying a drone, you've got so many things to remember to set your return to home flight height. And also, you know, are you in a restricted area near any airports, which obviously I know I'm not. Things like that. And the first time I flew it, I forgot to take the actual gimbal cover off the camera. Luckily it warned me and says, remove gimbal cover. So modern technology is absolutely amazing when it's working correctly. That's the thing. But this is only my third ever flight with a drone from buying it new. And all I can say is how impressed I am with it, with everything related to it. I've since bought a spare battery. I haven't used that yet. £50, brand new. And I bought a nice little case for the drone and the controller and my spare batteries. I think I paid £18 for that. I paid £10 for the little helicopter pad, which I don't tend to use these days. I catch it in my hand now. I'll just lower it, put my arm out, and get it from the bottom. There's a little doggy, look, having a good old nose. And there you have it. And this is Weston Hall Hotel. It's also got a public bar, and I used to go there around that area quite a lot when I was a kid, when I was about 12 to 15 I would guess, on my push bike. And it's got a lot of history, this place has, and they actually haven't got a date it was built in the records that I've read, and they believe the stone came from a castle that was there before it in the 13th century. And these houses to the left are actually converted stables. I used to play in the stables when they're in a right poor condition, with roof tiles missing and wooden beams showing through. But in the distance, about the 12 o'clock mark of that picture, was my house. I live about 2 miles away, and I was actually brought up in this village. It's called Bulkington in Warwickshire. I haven't been inside the building, or I haven't been there for a pint for absolutely years, probably 30 years maybe. But it's a nice little village. Well, I say little, it's quite a large village to be fair. And that at the side, I don't know what it is these days, where the big car park is. It used to be a nightclub, and then it was another nightclub, and then it was a fitness centre. And there's the church. I've also done some filming around the church as well as the hotel. But this is another afternoon evening shot, and you've got to be careful because the sun's going down. It's not sunny there. It looks like we've had a bit of an overcast day. But yeah, I'm living and learning my experiences with the drone, as it were. I've had no mishaps whatsoever. I've had no problems with anybody, the police or anybody else. The highest I've ever flown it is just below 200 feet. I've got no reason to fly any higher than that, and sometimes it can be very windy up there. It can be calm at sort of face level, but 200-300 foot you don't know what the wind's doing. So I tend to only go as high as I need to. So I've never needed to go above 200 feet. So you can fly 400 feet with the small drones, but I've yet to do that one. I've not had the reason to do it. But I'm actually standing in the side of the graveyard up against some bushes where I took off from and landed. Because if I stood there on the path outside and somebody walked by, then curiosity strikes and they ask you loads of questions and take your concentration away.